Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Dragon Age Origins. We have just completed Lothering. We met Bodin and Sandal, and we're about to head out to our own camp, I'm assuming. I think that's what happens next. So let's get going. I think we're done with Lothering. Oh god. Ah! It's kind of hurting my eyes. I'm assuming that's the archdemon. Oh, we're having nightmares.
Bad dreams, huh?
Seems surreal.
Well, it is real, sort of. You see, part of being a Grey Warden is being able to hear the Darkspawn. That's what your dream was, hearing them. The archdemon, it talks to the Horde, and we feel it just as they do. That's why we know this is really a blight.
The archdemon, is that the dragon?
I don't know if it's really a dragon, but it sure looks like one. But yes, that's the archdemon. It takes a bit, but eventually you can block the dreams out. Some of the older Grey Wardens say they can understand the archdemon a bit, but I sure can't.
Oh.
Anyhow, when I heard you thrashing around, I thought I should tell you. It was scary at first for me too.
Any other surprises I should know about?
Other than dying young and the whole defeat the blight alone thing, no. I'm all tapped out for surprises. Anyhow, you're up now, right? Let's pull up camp and get a move on.
Oh, is Stin fixed? Stin looks like he's fixed. Let's check him out. I want to talk to all our companions. We also have some quest stuff to do. First of all, I guess. Nope, he's still broken. He looked fixed from far away. Damn. Sorry, Stin. I don't know what to do to fix you. Let's talk to them.
It's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Fennec, at your service once again. I saw your camp and thought to myself, what safer place to rest for the evening than in the camp of the Grey Warden? I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes?
Have you been following us?
I can see why you might be suspicious, being a Grey Warden and all. Were I in your shoes, I would feel the same way. Trust me when I say that my encountering you here was serendipity and nothing more. I travel a lot, so I'm bound to meet everyone on the road eventually. If you prefer, I'll take my boy and be on my way. But regretfully, you're the safest spot on this road, without a doubt.
With the Darkspawn coming around, yeah. What are you selling exactly?
Anything, everything, but all of the finest quality. No cheap trinkets here. And my boy Sandal happens to be a bit of a hand with enchantments. Oh, yes. Sadly, it also makes us a target for bandits and the like. If there were spare hands to hire as guards, I would have done so long ago.
You're free to say, just mind yourselves.
Wonderful. Thank the kind lady, won't you, boy?
Thank you, kind lady.
We won't be a bother to you and your companions, I assure you. If you should need enchantments, simply talk to my boy. Otherwise, come speak with me.
Hello.
The boy's
Hello.
a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed.
Sandal is the most interesting mystery in all of Dragon Age. I really hope in Velgard that they bring Sandal back. God, I want to understand what he is. It has to do something with the Titans, I think. We'll discuss that later on. What enchantments does he do?
He can fold lyrium into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment!
And there you have it.
He's so happy. So other dwarfs can do this, but he's exceptionally good at it. I'd like to see what goods you
Oh,
have.
certainly. I can do that for you. Just come with me.
All right. You have a backpack. $7? That's all my money, bro. I can buy the Templar and... Jesus. And all the gifts. I think we'll do the gifts later on. I should have got the mod that tells me who, whose gift is who. We also have the rest of the blood dragon armor. I don't think I care for that right now. I think I will buy the backpack because that's going to be very important. Do we have anything to sell? We do. She can't wear those. We don't need that. I don't think on console I could change who it was, or I didn't know if we could do that, so I'm glad that this is here. I know it's a bit silly, but I kind of want to keep some items, even if we never use them. I don't know, I feel like... let's get rid of these. I never really use these kind of things, like the ice salve, nature salve, the balms. And I rarely used any of these, but I might use them continuing on. And I never really messed with the crafting system either, but I think in this playthrough we kind of will touch on it a little bit. Can we see
Enchantment?
Yeah. I want some enchanting done.
Enchantment!
Okay, in this game, we can't enchant our Grey Warden stuff. Well, that sucks. In this game, I think you can place them in and also place them out, but I think in Dragon Age 2 you can't do that for some reason. Oh. I guess my party's not here. Hey, Bodon, can we talk?
If there's anything I can do for you, please, please tell me.
Have you heard any rumors?
There's talk that King Kaelin
Whoa!
was cheating on the Queen and she found out about it. That's why Tyr and Loghain abandoned Kaelin at Ostergar.
Well, that's petty.
That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. With King Kaelin dead, the throne falls to Queen Anora. She's made her father the regent, however, at least for now. I think Kaelin's father, old King Merrick, would have approved. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. There's knights from Redcliffe spread all over Ferelden on some kind of mission, but I hear that they're starting to become rare to find. Maybe they all went back to Redcliffe. More likely they got tired of searching for something that can't be found and abandoned their search. I wonder what Earl Eamon is going to do without any knights. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is.
Does he have to say that every time at the end of the rumor?
Some hunters who range into the Brazilian forest say that a Dalish clan there has fallen to some kind of sickness. The blight, most likely, poor sods. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Take it for what it is. I've heard a rumor that the reason Queen Anora has never produced an heir is that she's barren.
Oh.
It's a curse from the Maker for bringing a commoner
that's
into the
fucked
royal
up.
line. Until someone of royal blood is put on the throne, there will never be an heir.
That's fucked
Seems the royal
up.
line of Calenod has been broken for good now. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
I don't
Take
even
it
know
for
half
what it
these
is.
people as a dwarf myself, but I guess we've been reading and learning as we've come along. I like to imagine that Sarada likes to read, especially about this new world she's into.
I'm hearing many tales of corpses clawing out of
Ugh.
their graves. All over. Not just people either. Animals too. Just yesterday, a farmer told me about the kitten his daughter had buried behind
No.
his barn. Little thing came back to life and crawled up, mewling as
No, I
loud as you
hate that.
please. His daughter was delighted, at least until it just about chewed her finger off. Strange days, I tell you. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is.
I don't like that one, thanks.
I heard a strange rumor the other day. King Kalen was not really Merrick's son, you see. Merrick's real son is hidden in the bowels of Denham's palace and has been
What?
since he was born. I suppose they feed him cakes all day to keep him content.
If that was the case, when he take...
Or a mage. Merrick's real son, a mage. Can you imagine? That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
Wow.
Take it for what it is. I hear from folks traveling the East Roads that there's werewolves
Werewolves?
in the Brazilian forest. Actual werewolves. They haven't been around since the days of Dane and his ilk. That's what I've heard on the road.
He has
anyhow.
so many
Take it for what it
rumors.
is. There's a nasty rumor going around that the Grey Wardens are evil and that they worship the
Oh, wow.
archdemon. They're the ones that cause the blight. They were getting upset, see? That there was no use for them anymore, so they summoned up the archdemon to do their bidding. It would explain a great many things. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
Bowden!
Take it for what it is.
Take it for what it is. I'm taking it for bullshit.
Habron, daughter of the Earl of Southreach, has spent an exorbitant amount of her father's coin buying puppies. No one knows what happens to the
No.
puppies, and she buys a new one every week. That's what I've heard on the road,
No,
anyhow.
that's scary. Why would
Take
you...
it for what it is.
No.
Arl Urian wasn't truly killed at Ostagar. His son, Lord
Whoa.
Von, hired Antivan crows to kill his father before he ever reached the battlefield, only to first be killed by a mob of elves himself. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
What?
Take it for what it is.
Where are these people?
Alessa Isolde, the young Orlesian woman that
Oh.
married Arl Eamon, I hear tell she tried to poison her husband so she could marry
Whoa.
his brother, Bantegan. Maker's honest truth. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
What the
Take
hell?
it for what it is. It's said the North Road Inn serves a shepherd's pie containing actual shepherds. Seems the innkeeper has something against the flocks being brought too near his own fields. That's what,
What
I've
the
heard on the
hell?
road,
What are
anyhow.
these rumors?
Take it for what it is.
I don't think I've ever sat here and listened to all the rumors.
I hear that Tian Logain, the regent, is calling for new levies of troops. He wants to rebuild the army we lost at Astagar. Thing is, there's not a lot of spare men to be found. Out at Dragon's Peak, there's press gangs roaming around, grabbing any free man they can lay their hands on. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for
When
what
is it going to start repeating?
I don't know what to think. Nothing I can think of at the moment.
Thank you.
You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along on the road.
So, what's your story exactly?
I suppose since you
Yeah.
told me about you being a Grey Warden, it's only fitting for me to be as open. I'm originally from Orzammar, just as you are, I suspect.
Yep.
You don't have the look of a surface dwarf about you. I was a merchant there, too. Merchant caste. These things are in the blood, you know. You can't just leave them behind. I ran a fairly successful business. Rare artifacts, you know. Old things, grand things. The nobles loved them. Reminded them of the lost glory days, I suppose.
Why did you leave?
One day, a noble woman came to my store. She looked around for a bit and then started shrieking in dismay. Apparently, she believed that a pair of braces I had for sale once belonged to her brother. He'd been lost in a cave-in, you see, while on an expedition to clear out the Darkspawn from one of the tunnels running close to the city. They were made specially for him. They're unique, she shrieked. He stole them from my poor brother's corpse. She had me arrested on the spot, of
Whoa.
course. Nobles, they're touchy like that.
You know I'm a noble, right? I used to be a noble.
And now you're up here, on the surface.
My brother betrayed me and had me exiled.
Then you know whereof I speak, don't you? Well, I didn't steal them. You see, I'd been paying these castless thugs to venture out into the deep roads for me. The lost tigers. They're full of things that people left behind. Sometimes you can find a treasure.
Yeah.
Something worth a little gold.
How dare you? I mean, so let's put it in perspective for our Sereda. She is a noble. She was tasked with getting a shield from a Dukensteig, but like, is it really not the same? We're just reclaiming items that were lost there and just left there. I feel like she would have a different perspective on it after being betrayed. Not because of the betrayal, but because those items shouldn't be left there, if that makes sense. Better do something with them than leave them to rot.
That's exactly how I see it. The noblewoman, she wasn't too happy with the theft of her brother's braces. I don't know what they planned for me, and I didn't want to find out. Bribed the guard that was watching me and took off for the surface first opportunity I got. Never looked back.
You're quite lucky to have done so well.
I thank the stone every single day. Now, is there anything the boy or I can get you?
Wow. But where do these goods come from? Not the deep roads?
Look, we don't rob people, all right? We don't take things from people that need them. The things in the lost tigers, what good did they do lying there? I brought them back to Orzammar, where people could look at them and remember. It's not all that different up here. There are places long abandoned by the humans everywhere. Even more now with the Darkspawn coming.
Yeah? What do you mean?
People flee from the Blight with good reason, but they forget things. Things with value and meaning. They leave them behind because they're frightened and desperate. And sometimes, my boy and I, we find our way to these places before the Horde descends, and we save these things. I take them away so the Darkspawn don't get them. Is that so bad? They destroy everything they touch.
I suppose it's better than having the Darkspawn take it all.
That's what I tell myself, too. Ah, these are dark times indeed. Dark times, my friend.
So not the purest merchant, but he's trying to do good in his own way. You didn't mention your son in your tale.
Ah, yes. I'm married to a fine woman back in Denerim, it's true. She'd give me a son if she could, but that's not likely to ever be.
Oh.
Sandal here. I found him in the deep roads years ago. Abandoned, I think, and he was never quite right in the head. I took him in, and I brought him with me when I came here to the surface. He may not be my blood, true, but I think of him as one.
We left Orzammar.
That's right, boy. Maybe one day we'll see it again.
What isn't all that important after being betrayed?
That's how I've always felt. As long as he's happy, so am I.
She says
It's
it
not
more
as if
bitter.
I don't benefit, mind you. Turns out the boy's a natural working with enchantments. He might have even been lyrium-addled. I never thought of that before, to be honest. Happens sometimes. He can work an enchantment into just about anything, however, given some time. Could probably open his own shop, if he knew how.
Enchantment.
Well, he does seem to enjoy it, at least.
All right.
Of
Well,
course. Good fortune to you and yours.
we got to learn
Goodbye.
about Bodan and Sandal. I think, I think it's time we talk to some people. We're gonna ignore this dude for now, at least until we do a little bit, get a little bit more people. I think it's time we talk to some people. We're gonna talk to Alistair first. That fire is so loud.
What do you need?
Do you want to talk about Duncan?
You don't have to do that. I know you didn't know him as long as I did.
That doesn't mean I don't mourn his loss.
I should have handled it better.
My God, Barkspawn.
Duncan warned me right from the beginning that this could happen. Any of us could die in battle. I shouldn't have lost it, not when so much is riding on us, not with the Blight and everything. I'm sorry.
No harm done, Alistair.
I'd like to have a proper funeral for him. Maybe once this is all done, if we're still alive. I don't think he had any family to speak of.
That's an excellent idea.
I think he came from Hyeva, or so he said. Maybe I'll go up there sometime. See about putting up something in his honor. I don't know. Dwarves don't practice cremation, do they?
No.
How do your people honor your dead?
See, this is what I found interesting. So humans cremate their dead. Elves, I think they bury them and then place a tree sapling on top of them. And then dwarves actually bury them in stone in a tomb. We entomb our dead within the stone beneath our thighs.
I heard about that, now that I think about it. Their spirits return to the rock, strengthening the foundation of the tide. It sounds so strange.
No stranger than burning your honored dead to ashes.
I suppose you're right. Thank you. Really, I mean it. It was good to talk about it, at least a little.
He was a friend of mine, too.
That's good to hear. It's nice to know I'm not the only one who remembers him well.
Alright. Alistair approval.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask something.
Ask away.
What can a Templar do exactly?
Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells.
So Templars use magic themselves?
You could call it that, sure. The Chantry doesn't look on it the same way, however, since really our talents only work on mages. Against a regular person, I'm just a guy in a metal suit.
Have you hunted many mages?
No, I never actually became a full Templar. Duncan recruited me before I took my vows. I was only present during one harrowing. The ritual that they test the mages with. It's not unlike our joining, really. And just as deadly.
Well, you don't take a
The
sippy
girl
out of
we
a cup.
tested, she had a demon put inside her
Oh.
to see if she could resist. And she couldn't. We had to end it quickly. I have to say I didn't have much interest in becoming a Templar after that.
Okay, so if you play the mage origin story, you go through your harrowing. But it made it seem like you enter the Fade, but I guess you do, but I guess they summon a demon and put it inside you, and that's what you're fighting in your mental battle. That's kind of fucked up. So they give a demon to you to make sure you can resist it, and if you can't, they kill you. What if you're not ready? What if you're not fucking ready? Anyway, so couldn't others learn these talents? It's just such a messed up system is what it seems like.
Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves,
Yep.
well, I'm sure you can put two and two together.
It's fucked up. So you're addicted to this lyrium?
Thankfully, no. You only start receiving lyrium once you've taken your vows. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templars' talents more effective. Or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me.
It's so fucked up. The whole Chantry business. Barkspawn, could you chill out and stop barking?
What do you need?
I'd ask you
Ask
something.
away.
Can you teach others to be a Templar?
I suppose I could. But I really would rather not. When the Grand Cleric let Duncan recruit me, she made me swear never to reveal Templar secrets outside of the Chantry. I'd rather not go back on my word.
Very well. I respect your word.
Ask me later, perhaps. Maybe I'll change my mind. This is not something small you're asking, after all.
Yeah. Well, he approves. 15 neutral. +1. +4.
What do you need? Ask away.
So how did you become a Grey Warden?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have
Alistair,
you?
that's not what I meant. Haha, very funny.
I do my best. What can I say? Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
So you mentioned before.
It's really for the best. I'm not exactly the Chantry type, if you haven't noticed. I don't think I would have made a very good Templar. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
Why did the Grand Cleric want to keep you?
I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens, is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
He was a good man.
He was. A good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking.
He's approving little by little.
What do you need? Ask away.
So you said this archdemon raised you?
Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
That would explain the smell.
Well, it wasn't until I was 8 that I discovered you didn't have to lick yourself clean. Old habits die hard, you know.
So does a horde of darkspawn, I'm told.
Point taken. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arleman wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
He wasn't your father, so you knew who what? So you know who is?
I know who I was told was my father. He died even before my mother did, anyhow. It isn't important. Arleman eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard.
Oh.
They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10. Just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
Ouch. An awful thing to do to a child.
Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and
Whoa.
it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
No one can blame you for that, though. Like, it was... You were young, for one. You were young.
And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Kaelin's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Codex. Thrall's wife, Isolde, suspected the reason her husband took an interest in the welfare of her servant's child was that Alistair was Iman's son. She insisted that the boy be sent away to the Chantry. We also have a crest-related. Mal Akaram regrets. I won't go back, let them hunt and dread finding me. But you, Melis, should not live this life. It would please me if we found a life in the Circle Tower. I left a few things there, mostly stolen from the enchanters. Sell them to fund a new path. The cache is in the study area, middle a clove. Goodbye. Belgrus. And Beast? Bear? I guess we did fight a bear, didn't we? No beast is more beloved by Durthman than the bear. When the world was new, Durthman gave one secret to each creature to keep. The foxes traded their secrets to Anduril for wings. The hares shouted theirs to the treetops. The birds sold theirs for gold and silver. Only the bears kept Durtherman's gift. Deep within their dens, they slept the months away in the company of their secrets and nothing else. When Durtherman discovered what had been done with his gift, he snatched the wings from the fox, silenced the voice of the hares, and turned the birds into paupers. But the bears he honored for their steadfastness. A Dalish tale. Normally, it is almost unheard of for bears to attack travelers. They are, in fact, so shy and so inactive during the day that most people never encounter a bear at all. However, should a bear be provoked, they are remarkably dangerous. The normally placid-seeming creatures become enraged and can strike massive blows with their paws, capable of knocking a man off his feet. Alright, we have all this, we also got a new... I'm gonna try to avoid the premium content for now until we get more companions. We're gonna talk to more people.
What do you need? Ask away.
Why have you remained a Templar if you hate the Chantry?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
The Grey Warden armor is really good. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen you wearing it.
I keep it hidden under my pillow. Sometimes I'll take it out just so I can hug it fondly and remember the good old days. Brings a tear to the eyes, you know.
So this is where you deflect questions with humor, right?
I'd use my shield if I could, but I think you might actually spot me hiding behind it. You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
I do really want to know, yes.
Poke, poke, poke. Tell me everything about your life, Alistair. All right, if you insist. It's not like we have anything better to do, right?
I have only been poking him.
The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Al-Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it.
What did you enjoy about the training?
The education, mostly, but also the discipline. You need to have a disciplined mind in order to use the abilities we have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful for when we encountered Darkspawn magic, so I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home?
I think she does miss home because that's all she's ever known. And she probably does miss it after spending weeks, maybe a month on the surface. Orzammar is my home, I miss it. But also this one, not anymore, no. Maybe she wouldn't feel like at home there. Oh, that's sweet. Guess my home is with the Grey Wardens now with you. let me think about it. Her headspace. She probably doesn't consider Orzammar her home anymore because she knows she'll never be able to go back. And now she's a Grey Warden. She has to take up this mantle. I'm gonna say this one. We're family now, Alistair.
It is. I didn't know you felt that way. We won't always be traveling like this, you know. Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again. Though that seems like a far ways off. And I suppose the Grey Wardens are gone for good. Either way.
They can be rebuilt.
I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens, but we'll never get back those we lost. I wonder if it would ever feel the same. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now.
I don't think it'll ever feel the same. We have to go forward. Alright, that was Alistair. Let's talk to Liliana.
Yes?
I like to talk.
Well, here I am.
This vision of yours.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in.
You dreamed of the Blight?
I suppose I did. That was what the darkness was, no? When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rosebush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
And this made you want to help me.
In my dream, I fell, or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the Blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the Blight devours everything?
I suppose I couldn't sit by either. We don't believe in the Maker, but we're not gonna let things get destroyed.
That is why you're a Grey Warden. Come, there's a Blight to stop. Yes?
I like how we have this. I think you should go.
Well, here I am.
What was life like in the Chantry Cloister?
Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
That's why I'm not particularly fond of them. I mean, we never really probably interacted with a lot of Chantry folk. But from Lothering, and from what we heard in Ostergaard camp, I think we probably would be not fond of them.
When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
I prefer your ideas to the ideas of the Chantry.
Thank you. Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now.
You haven't talked enough. I need your approval. Talk to me.
Yes?
I like to talk.
Well, here I am.
What would someone like you be doing in Lothering's Chantry?
What is meant by someone like me?
Ooh. Do we want to flirt? You know, a beautiful, charming woman like yourself.
And there were no beautiful, charming women in the cloisters, you think? You would be wrong. There were many lovely young initiates in the Lothering cloister, all of them chaste and virtuous. It added to their mystique, because then they were forbidden, and forbidden fruit is the sweeter, no?
Flirt dude exclusive. What does that mean? What the your fruit isn't forbidden? Holy shit, we're just coming out of the gates with it. Flirt dude exclusive. I have a mod on that says no ninja romancing, so I'm assuming that's what that means. Flirt dude? We barely know her. We barely know her. Maybe I shouldn't have talked to all my companions back to back. We didn't have a flirt option with Alistair. Fuck it, we're interested. What about your fruit? Is it forbidden?
My fruit? I can't believe I'm having this conversation. But no, I did not take vows. The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed.
Oh god, her fruit. Affirmed?
We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken.
So your skills were learned before your time in the Chantry?
I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course.
She's making
let's move on.
excuses. She said, let's move on. Her fruit, guys!
Yes?
Do you have anything else?
Well, here I am.
Oh, you were a traveling minstrel. Do you have tales to share?
Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think.
Tell me about the Darkspawn.
Chantry lore says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium
We've read
ruled
about
much
this,
of the
but-
world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris.
Okay. Know any stories about from Orlais?
Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline,
Aveline!
the Knight of Orlais.
Go ahead.
A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot.
Okay. Continue, please.
Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney. but Aveline kept her helmet
Wow.
on and was not discovered.
Sorry, just the fact that when you pick the female option at the beginning of the game, women or men are regarded as equal. They are definitely fucking not. Did she win the tourney? Like this probably actually also excites Sarada because she also went into the proving herself. She's a warrior herself. She was a commander for the briefest moment before she got betrayed.
Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the Grand Melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground,
Whoa.
ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered
Wow.
for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat.
That's terrible.
The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Olay so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier.
I feel like... Oh, how long ago did this happen? Did Liliana say when this happened? If it was way, way, way in the past... I know we're still, like, in medieval times, and we're trying... And, like, I probably at the time when they made this, they're trying to make it more, accurate to history, but it's a fantasy world. We don't have to have, in the current time at least, strife with being a woman. Sure, if we talk about the past, like Aveline going through that is fine. I think having the basic ground lore for that is good. But honestly, I'm tired of women just being regarded as different from men in these types of settings. So far as a dwarf female, we've only been regarded as a dwarf, not as a woman. But I know if you play as like a female Koosland or an elf female, or even the frickin' city elf female origins, it's really rough. If you know, you know. I just feel like there should be more stories where women aren't regarded as not equal to men. This Aveline story, though, it seems good, though. Like, it set a course for all women who wanted to be chevaliers. Alright, I won't linger on that too long. Do you know any Ferelden legends?
I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth?
Oh. I met a Flemeth in the Kokari Wilds.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Was she the Flemeth of legend?
Yep.
Flemeth, the devourer of men. Flemeth, mother of witches. Flemeth, demon-touched, who dwells in the mists.
She didn't really introduce herself as such.
Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass
Wow.
if she catches you.
Tell me the whole story.
Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar,
We read
and
this.
he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love.
We read this, but we didn't know that Conobar knew that she was a mage. What happened then? I do like having different perspectives of the same tale, because really it is all perspective. Unless you're being told by the person themselves, aka Flemeth in this case. But yeah, what is the truth? All we know are different parts of it. So what happened then?
Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Hayeva, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds.
See, in this tale, Liliana is saying that Flemeth was possessed by a demon, not a spirit. But in the text that we read, it said spirit. So the perspectives on this is very interesting. Like, you can be possessed by a demon or a spirit. There was another story I wanted to hear.
Which one?
Oh, do you need tales about the Dalish? What about dwarf tales? Where are the dwarfs?
I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in a land of their own.
Oh, why do I have it didn't last? Like, I know this. I don't think Sarita would know this.
The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a wholly exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others,
Awful.
still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish.
I did not mean to knock into that. So, also, the racism in this game is very big, especially against elves. Poor elves. What do you know about Andraste?
Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride.
That's a little weird.
But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker.
See, this is just a whole kind of weird. Oh, the Maker favored a woman. I also I'm just wondering, I'm sure there's other codex or other things that happen in the later games that made me think this, but I always wonder, was Andraste actually human? I've always wondered that, and I wonder where that thought came from for me. It had to have happened in the future games. I don't think it happens in this game. Or was she even human? Like, was she even mortal? Was she a spirit? Is what I'm thinking. That brings up a whole nother debate. Like, is the Maker actually a god, or is he also just a very powerful spirit? Okay, how did Andraste die?
Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Maferath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Maferath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Maferath made a pact with the Archon Hysarian of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter.
Another lady burned at the stake. Oh, that's another thing. Was Andraste a mage as well? They think she's just a normal human, but I wonder if she was actually a mage. That was the other thought I had. But Tevinter has a chantry, doesn't it?
The Tevinter chantry claims that in Andraste's last moments, Hysarian's heart softened, and he heard the voice of the Maker telling him to end her suffering. He plunged his sword into her heart, and as her blood washed over his hands, he became one of the faithful. Dissenters said that the Archon only converted because he could not stem the tide of Andraste's cult, and was forced to do so to stay in power. We will never know for sure.
No, we won't. Alright. I think that's everything. Oh, she approves +5. Nice. Let's talk to her one more time, see if there's anything else.
Well, here I am.
Okay, never mind. Whoa! Whoa! Look at that moon! Alright, Sten, you're next. We're just gonna be talking to all our companions in this episode.
Why are we stopping?
Bro, your neck. Your hair. Looks like it's doubled up. I think we should talk for a moment.
There are darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
Are you alright? You were in that or what's your hurry?
What a strange language you speak. You say hurry where I would say duty.
It's not your duty to handle the blight, though.
No, it is yours, and you are chatting with me instead.
I've never seen a Qunari before. Tell me about your people.
No.
Oh. I wasn't expecting that.
Get used to disappointment. People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of, the elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty.
Okay, they would excel at poverty. You can't say that. You said you were in the army. A little hostile.
I am.
Why would the Qunari send soldiers here?
The Antam are the eyes, hands, and mouth of the Qunari. We are how my people know the world.
You really didn't answer my question.
No, I didn't.
Are you always this stubborn?
Yes. There is no
so
point
smug
to this. We
about
are
it.
keeping the darkspawn waiting.
He seems so smug about it. Are you alright? You're in that cage for weeks.
You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
Why did you offer to help me?
For the moment, you are the enemy of my enemy.
For the moment?
Yes, I am Kunari. As long as you do not make yourself my enemy, I will aid you. I can promise nothing else.
Bro, we need to fix your head.
As you wish.
Sten is a very frustrating character as the first Kunari you ever meet in the Dragon Age series, if this is your first game.
Yes.
But I also think he's fucking hilarious, to be honest. What were you doing in that cage?
Sitting, as you observed.
Cute, you're the silent type, I see. Excuse me, very funny.
Thank you.
Look at him, he's so smug about it. You don't like me much, do you?
Warden, if I truly disliked you, I would leave.
Oh.
That I am still here, you may interpret however you choose.
Are you going to answer my question?
I did. Bashera, was there anything else?
Shara, I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Why did you come to Ferelden?
To answer a question.
What was the question? What was the answer? Ooh, what was the answer?
Were you not at Ostagar when the army was overwhelmed? That is your answer.
You came about the Darkspawn. Why would the Kunari care about the Blight?
Why do you?
It's a threat to Orzammar. Or it's my job. I'm a Grey Warden, it's my job.
Exactly. You don't ask, nor do I. The Arashok sends me and I go.
Don't you have to report back then?
Yes.
When are you going to do that?
Never. I cannot go home.
Why? Well, you could stay with us.
Thank you.
Aw.
Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting.
Okay.
As you wish.
Whoa! Plus 23? What did I say that made him so happy? I think he's fucking hilarious, and with his fucked up head. I don't know why he's fucked up. I don't know. That's crazy. We have something of his. What did we unlock? This. Lot. Minor strength. Passive. Inspired by your leadership, this party member has gained a +1 bonus to strength. That's cool. Cool. I'm sorry his head is broken. I don't think there's anything else to talk to him about.
Yes.
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Never mind.
Very well.
Yep. Goodbye.
As you wish.
I think he's hilarious. Codex updated. Sten has an eye for paintings, an appreciation that might seem out of character, but is actually an extension of Kunari discipline. He expects an artist for careful composition, a skill that is as much about where the brushstroke stops as to where it begins. So he likes paintings. Okay, I don't think we have any paintings. Where even is my gifts? And other? I have alcohol. This is probably for Liliana. Smart carb, statuette, alcohol, and this is probably for our dog. Does he not count? What? I see. I can't give him the beef bone. Alright, well, let's talk to Morrigan next. Over here by herself.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
How did you become a shape changer?
I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemets, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young
Whoa.
boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
Your mother has been doing this for a long time then?
Changing her form, certainly. Devouring lost children, I cannot say. She has not done it in my experience, though in truth my lifespan is but a fraction of her own. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
Can you change into other human forms as well?
The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess.
That is interesting that they can't do that. I kind of like that, though. I like that they can't go into any other human or any other being, like dwarf, elf, or whatever. So, you know, you can't be fucking tricked. The person in front of you is probably the person. Can anyone become a shape changer?
Anyone with sufficient will. But the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. If you had a notion to learn such a skill for yourself, sadly, you must remain disappointed.
Do you spend a lot of time as an animal?
There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
And what do other animals think of you when you've changed?
They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask.
Makes sense. I never heard of magic like that before.
No? 'Tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the circle of magi,
Well, I mean-
despite what those mages would have you believe.
I'm a dwarf, so...
Some of these traditions are old, indeed, passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could. But as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one.
By practitioners, you mean apostates, don't you?
Not all apostates use the forbidden blood arts.
True.
Maleficarum do, but to condemn all who do not fall under the circle's thrall for the sake of what might be is a dangerous path to walk. There are those who look on the word apostate as meaning freedom.
Oh, well, that's all I wanted to ask,
Indeed.
apparently.
Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
Maybe tied to a flagpole and tickled. I think your abilities sound quite useful.
A most practical opinion. Far more so than any man I have spoken to. But enough of such
Well, I'm a
talk. Let us
woman,
proceed,
so-
lest the dust gather on us.
I'm a woman, so... I'm a dwarf woman.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Yep. Can you teach others to become shape changers?
Possibly, if I had the desire to. I do not.
Her arm is so thin. Whoa! You be a selfish bitch, as you wish. The fuck?
What do you wish of me?
Why would you call her that?
If you must.
Did you grow up in the Kakari Wilds?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
You could if you wanted to.
Oh, what luck. What is it you asked? If I grew up in the wilds?
Yep.
A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
But you kept going back to the wilds?
Would you not do the same? Your world is an unforgiving and cold place. The wilds I hail from is home to me, and I a natural denizen. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
Very daring. That sounds like you.
Equal parts daring and
We made her laugh.
foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be travelling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me.
Wow.
I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
That was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play.
Look at her. She's
The
so...
point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
I have no idea. I'm not human.
Do not speak to me of trivialities. Your culture is not so entirely different. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes, how to eat at a table, how to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Yet here you are.
Yes, here I am.
She looks
Well,
upset.
let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
Okay, we got approval. Okay.
What do you wish of me?
I like to ask something.
If you must.
I must. Have you ever been hunted by the Chantry?
My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact.
Oh, of course
The
she did.
Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more.
I feel sorry for the Templars.
They came with as much swagger and arrogance as they did self-righteousness. Pity them if you wish, for they held none for us.
True.
Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom.
Wow, Flemeth used you as bait?
'Twas a game, and I a young girl. If I didn't get to play, I would have been very upset. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again.
Interesting.
I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum.
Do you still think that was fun?
I think that my mother made it fun so that a child did not learn to fear. And I think that it was necessary. There are no trials for apostates, no prisons, no mercy. There are only absolutes, so only survival matters. If the wilds have taught me anything, 'tis this. First, you must survive. Do you disagree?
She's right, though. Like, they never put a mage on trial to see if they were a blood mage or not. They just kill them. No, I think she would agree, because she was going to do whatever it took to survive in the Deep Roads when she got exiled. Yeah, you're probably right.
An enlightened view. Or at least an agreeable one.
That's why she became
Enough
a
of this
Grey
talk.
Warden.
Let us return to the task at hand.
She disapproves! How did I get her to disapprove me?
What do you wish of me? If you must.
Is Flemeth really what she seems to be?
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
An old woman. Oh, we made her laugh.
Oh, she is certainly old. Have no mistake of that. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale?
What's
The
happening with
one
her
that
hair
the
here?
chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
I'm more interested in the truth.
I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
That sounds interesting.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
Yes, I've heard this part.
The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conobar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity.
Yeah.
In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her
Oh.
husband, and Conobar the jealous lord, who looked on from afar. Lord Conobar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
What the hell? He sold his wife to another man?
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conobar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess.
Oh, shit.
Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
Oh, wow. So she truly loved Osen then?
That was not the point. Conobar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conobar. The demon the legend tells of came later.
What?
Lord Conobar's allies chased Flemeth, you see. Chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Wow. Which she never invaded or he never defeated her?
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero.
Wow.
Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
Do you believe her version?
I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has coloured her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
How is it that Flemeth survived for so long?
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
The legend tells of Flemeth having many daughters.
You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one, and these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed, so should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Even at this point, it's very sus. all rumors or tales have a little bit of truth in them. Why would she refuse to speak of them?
The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
Of course, eating hearts. Aren't abominations usually insane horrors?
How often is this usually? Always? If not always, then when is it not true? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I could ever hope to understand. What Flemeth became is a mystery. I suspect, even to her.
An interesting story, thank you.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother?
Oh.
Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
So our dad was King Indrin, and on my headcanon is that each of Sarada's siblings, Taryn, is that his name? Taryn? Sarada and Balin all have different mothers. So our mother died a long time ago, probably, yeah. We're gonna do this one. That seems like the most truthful one.
Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on.
+5! Let's go!
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Nope. Let's do the other one.
What do you wish of me?
I'd discuss something personal.
We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any.
What? Shh. Nope, we're not asking that. Bye! Alright, let's talk to Barkspawn and finish up our camp talk. Our party camp. They'll obviously have more to say later on.
Oh, you little...
What?
Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
Oh. Well, he is a war dog. Ooh.
Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me.
That'll teach me.
I once heard a
Oh my
really
God.
old legend about how the hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished.
Alistair.
Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh.
Oh God, he's gagging.
Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
Don't scare my dog. Don't listen to Alistair. He's full of rubbish.
Hey!
Oh, look at what your fool dog placed in my pack.
Look at him, he's so happy.
A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables.
Oh my, can't be stinkier than what normally goes into the. Whoa! It's the thought that counts, he means well.
The dirty mongrel can have this back. There. And tell him not to do it again.
You heard the lady.
I don't want it, you worthless fur bag.
Don't be mean. No. I think you hurt his feelings.
Oh, he's just trying to be manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
God, Stan, what is happening with your hair? We'll just watch them. Oh my God, his hair.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
I like this scene, but Stin's hair was throwing me off. Oh! Trying to find your way through the earth, are we? It's gonna take some time, you know. Well, good luck with that. I want to pet him. I want to pet Barkspawn. Oh, he could knock me over. Pet him. Alright, what a nice way to end our camp. We have made camp. And that's really all we did. We talked to everyone. We learned about some people. We got some friendships up. We got 13, 15. Stin is or Alistair at 22. Stin is at 25. That's the funniest part. Yeah, we'll be probably bringing this episode to a close. I'm not sure where we're gonna go next. It seems like we should go to the Redcliffe, or go to Redcliffe, but I think I might go to Dinnerham first. Just as a preference. And then we'll probably head to Redcliffe later. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.